Florida State head coach Mike Norvell is on his third season, and things have been a bit rocky to say the least. However, the feelings around the program are trending upwards. With the mess he inherited being bigger than many realized, has he done enough to get FSU on the right track? Any Norvell conversation should start with his offense. As a branch off of the Gus Malzahn tree, Norvell lives off unbalanced sets, where there are more players on one side of the field compared to the other. Nationally, FSU was 18th in the country in percentage of plays out of unbalanced formations. He particularly likes to go to what I call the nub formation, where he has 3 receivers to the strong side and a lone tight end or flex receiver to the weak side. This forces the defense to either defend a running gap with a corner or sub in an extra linebacker. This is where transfer receiver Johnny Wilson may make a big impact. Most defenses don't have a player that's physical enough to take on his 6'7" frame in the box, while agile enough to cover him in space. The only question is whether he can make defenses pay by actually catching the ball. FSU's base play on offense is counter. In counter, 2 blockers pull, usually either a guard and a tackle or a guard and a tight end, to give extra numbers at the point of attack. This is where running backs Trayshawn Ward, Lawrence Toafili, and transfer Trey Benson will most likely get the bulk of their yardage. Once he gets the linebackers to flow towards the counter side, he'll go to a counter toss play. Here the line all pulls like counter, which triggers the opposing linebackers, while they pitch it the opposite direction, where the running back should have space to run. This dynamic running game is further expanded with its quarterback, Jordan Travis, who is known for his athleticism. Here FSU is doing a zone read, where Travis reads this defensive end. Since he crashes down to take the running back, Travis pulls the ball with only green grass ahead of him. While the running game has been pretty solid with Travis behind the helm, the passing game has left something to be desired. That's partly because of him, partly due to substandard wide receiver play, partly due to an insistence on trying to hit the deep ball, and partly due to a porous offensive line. FSU addressed these issues with 4 wide receiver transfers and 4 offensive line transfers, however it's still unlikely that either of these positions have become strengths. On the other side of the ball, FSU bases out of a 4-2-5, which relies on 4 defensive linemen to produce a steady pass rush. Last season, FSU could rely on Jermaine Johnson and Keir Thomas on the edge to generate a pass rush without blitzing, ranking 125th nationally in percent of snaps with 5 or more pass rushers. That may have to change this season. They brought in Jared Verse, an extremely athletic transfer from the University of Albany, and expect returners Dennis Briggs and Derek McClendon to step up, but those are awfully big shoes to fill. However, the ends' lives may be made easier because of the help on the interior. Fabian Lovett and Robert Cooper are known quantities and should help soak up double teams to get the ends more one-on-one matchups. Behind the D-line, FSU tends to play a lot of cover 4, coming in at 6th in the country in percent of cover 4 snaps. Cover 4 has gained a lot of ground over the most common zone coverage, cover 3. In cover 3, there are 3 deep defenders, one of which is a safety, which means that the other safety can be shifted near the box for run support. However, in cover 4, both safeties have deep responsibilities, which means they both have to be ready to run the alley and help with run fits. This is a really hard role to fill, but FSU has one of the top safeties in the country in Jamie Robinson, who is well suited for his coverage responsibilities, but isn't afraid to make a big impact in the box as well. Since the safeties have to have their eyes in the box, it often leaves the corners on islands. The corners did a decent job limiting completions last season, coming in at 12th in the country when the opposing team targeted wide receivers, but when they gave up completions, they were often big ones. Take this play for example. This deep curl route occupies the safety and takes away the corner's deep help, which leads to a big play for NC State. One of these corner spots is shored up by true sophomore Duke Cooper, but there's still a question mark to who will take over that number 2 corner position. However, the biggest problem with FSU's defense last season wasn't the corners, it was the linebackers. While they tend to be alright in the interior run game, teams routinely targeted them in the passing game and with outside runs due to their slower sideline to sideline speed. This is what UCF transfer Tatum Bethune was brought in to improve. He was by far the best of FSU's linebackers in coverage last year, and he should be playing alongside a more experienced Kalen DeLoach and a DJ Lundy, who has dropped a lot of weight and is looking a lot more agile in fall camp. Florida State will be an improved team this year. However, the ACC Atlantic will be a deceptively tough division this season, and FSU has to not only close the gap between them and the other teams on their schedule, but surpass any progress that other teams may have made in the offseason. I think FSU is lacking some of the top-end playmakers to make a big run through their schedule. However, I do think the coaching staff has done a good job of addressing the holes on this roster, and that will help FSU be competitive in every game this season. I plan on doing opponent previews just like this one and in-depth film reviews later in the week, so make sure you like and subscribe to this channel and the Noles 247 channel so you don't miss a thing. Thanks.